Hi everyone, this is our presentation based on the changing face of beauty within ancient Egyptian and Roman women, focusing between the times of 305 and 30 BC. We'll be looking at their fashions, makeup, cosmetic rituals, their influences and icons. So, let's begin.
If we compare Egyptian and Roman makeup rituals, we will find that they both wore white lead and powdered chalk on their bodies to reveal high status and wealth. Rich Roman women wore a pale face to show they did not work outside. Cosmetics would include ingredients such as frankincense and myrrh to prevent body odour. This shows bathing, beauty and cosmetics were as prominent in both cultures.
Egyptian women wore green eyeshadow derived from malachite. This was often applied from the lid to the brow, on the inner eye and towards the base of the nose. The black eyeliner made from coal was drawn to create an almond shape to the eyes and prevent them from being dazzled by the sun. It was discovered that coal protected the eyes from infections.
Roman women applied soot to darken their eyebrows, and dyes from plants were used to stain the lips. The higher the status of the woman, the more makeup they wore. Slaves were responsible for creating the latest trends in fashion for hair and makeup, and were highly valued and skilled makeup artists for wealthy women. The image we see here represents this.
Evidence of cosmetic use in ancient Egypt is shown on ancient tombs. This is how their trends were developed. Even after death, makeup was important as they believed you had to look presentable to the gods in the afterlife. This image shows that they also used slaves as makeup artists. We can tell the artist is a slave here due to the lack of gold she is wearing in comparison to the other women.
Ingredients for cosmetics for both Egyptians and Romans remained similar throughout the years. Nevertheless, rich Romans would buy ready-made products imported from Germany and China. These were expensive, therefore forcing the poor to develop cheaper counterpart cosmetics. This was unlike the Egyptians, as those of all statuses wore the same makeup.
Although not everyone was in favour of the use of makeup, in ancient Rome, women were looked down on and thought to have been using witchcraft if they used cosmetics. Ancient Roman poet Genoval wrote that a woman buys scents and lotions with adultery in mind. Philosopher Seneca thought that wearing cosmetics led to the destruction of women and did not meet the standards of the Roman culture.
Hairstyling appeared to be just as important for the Egyptians, with them using black raven's blood on their black hair. They often shaved their heads and wore elaborate wigs to protect their heads from the sun, which were often associated with eroticism. In comparison, Roman prostitutes were required by law to have blonde hair or wear blonde wigs.
Bathing, oiling of the skin and using perfumes was part of the Egyptians and Romans' daily routine. Egyptians would wear a perfume comb incorporated into their wigs for special occasions, as did the slaves. No matter the wealth or status of the person, hygiene was still important and a way of life. It was Greece and the Middle East that influenced the use of perfume for the Romans.
Egyptian women wore floor-length dresses made from linen. They were kept as white as possible to show their wealth. Roman women wore stolas made from wool, which were usually spun and weaved by housewives. They believed that the wool had healing powers and would protect them from evil. This is because the wool came from one of God's creatures and was religiously correct to wear.
Accessories were another way Egyptians and Romans could show their status, wealth, religious views and even their job. Gold was very popular if you could afford it, and bronze was a cheaper option. Wearing rare stones and jewels was also another way you could identify how wealthy the person was. Egyptians and Romans wore necklaces, earrings, rings and beautiful accessories to decorate their hair with.
It is clear to see that the Romans were heavily inspired by the ancient Egyptians. Cleopatra came to Rome in 46 BC, inspiring Roman women to be more bold with their makeup and wear a green smoky eye. Roman women also began to wear red lipstick, as it was known that Cleopatra could rock the red lip look, and she was what we knew as a sex symbol of her time.
Cleopatra brought Egypt and Rome together. Mark Antony and Julius Caesar were both drawn to Cleopatra's beauty, partially due to the fact that she was so glamorous and exotic compared to the Roman women. She was said to have had romantic relationships with both Mark Antony on the right and Julius Caesar on the left. This then allowed her to take control and manipulate them.
Religion seems to have had the biggest impact on both cultures. It shaped the structure of their everyday life. Egyptians didn't question their religion and wanted to keep tradition, so the world could be maintained how they believed their God had created it. Romans, on the other hand, lived a life based on multiple religions. It acted as the beginning and the end of their cultures.
As you can see, there are similarities and contrasts between the two societies. Although to look at their fashions and makeup styles was very different, they both desired the same effect, whether it was to look aesthetically attractive or to follow their beliefs or fashion trends of the time. I'm Shawnee.
I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Ellen, and this is our presentation on the changing face of beauty. Are there any further questions?